There's a topic that a lot of people want us to talk on, and it's definitely in the Codigos, which is hygiene. What do you think? I mean, like we're at a point where it's getting a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people plead with us to cover the topic of hygiene. And to a lot of people, they feel it's gone way too far out of control.
Codigos, Codigos, Codigo, Codigo.
All right, we are back and we are going to be talking about Codigos, or the codes that come with tango in terms of etiquette and the culture, the way that the dance has these certain kind of policies almost that come along with that are universally accepted that go along with the dance. And whether or not they still matter in today's climates, or are they something of the past? And should we still keep something that that was instilled from some time ago? And so, yeah, for me, I think that in a lot of ways, sadly, many milongas that I go to and many tango events that I go to, a lot of the traditional framework of etiquette has kind of gone by the wayside. And some people are going to say like, well, that's a good thing. Things evolve, things improve, things are discarded if they're no longer needed. And I agree. Sure, some of those things definitely happen. Traditions do change, right? Policies get amended over time, just as we see, right? In our own constitution, for example, things get amended all the time. I will say, I wish there were a little bit more general etiquette things that were improved upon in the current state of tango today. I mean, what do you think about that?
I was raised on the Codigos, and I love them. And for me, I think tango or tango is it's like a celebration of the old world, where, I mean, I take a very traditional stance on this, where men would walk ladies back to their tables, where people would open their doors for others, and there's a care for the elderly. So I was kind of raised in that system, and it's a bit sad to see it go away in a bit. But I understand, like hey, it's a new world, and some people, if it just if you play by those rules and the rules aren't in play, then you kind of shoot yourself in the foot.
Right, and I think that when you're out there, and it's the sad part of it, sometimes some people play by the rules and kind of get trumped by people that don't play by the rules.
Yeah.
Like when you go to the Milonga, you'll try your best to do all the great etiquette things, like really taking your time to make sure you're not interrupting somebody in conversation, or you're waiting for the perfect music. I think that's kind of the one thing that I have the biggest gripe with. There are certain pieces of music that I enjoy dancing with specific people that dance, obviously. And for some people, they don't care. They'll dance no matter what it is. No matter if you play pop or any kind of orchestra, it doesn't matter. They just want to dance with this specific person, and they're going to take with it whatever they get. And don't get me wrong, I have that same things with some people as well. But I feel like a lot of people just don't wait to see what the next tanda is.
That also grinds my gears, because I remember even like, not even recently, but like in the past when I was definitely a hardliner on the Codigos, it would drive me insane that people would grab their partner, not even cabecillo, grab their partner, pull them on the floor during the cortina.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we know Tango Tango Vals, Tango Tango Milonga.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you really know what's going to play next?
That's true. It's very I don't know. It takes away the magic, because like it's almost like you're waiting for that perfect moment, and it's getting stolen away from somebody else that doesn't play by the rules, and there are no consequences for it. It's like the people that always run the red light, and for some reason, like you never run the red light, and then maybe the one time you try and you get like pulled over.
Yeah. It kind of does suck. Definitely, because it seems like playing by the rules, like you're playing with half a deck of cards. But then I guess you have to think about it, which is the goal just getting a dance, or is the goal getting the dance you wanted? You know, and maybe like it might be a downer because somebody, your dance got stolen. Let's say your magical pugliese tana got stolen, per
Right.
se.
Don't take my pugliese.
Don't take my pugliese.
Yes.
But also at the same time, it's like if that person doesn't abide by the codes, it's kind of, you know, I mean, is that person worth waiting for? You know, if they're going to I mean, you might have a magical time with them, but I would say that's because you brought that aspect to the table, you know. And if that person's just really there to pick up anything, and I also understand the flip side, which is like they don't want to be rude, they don't want to, you know, they don't want to come off as being very negative. They're trying to be supportive of the community, but at the same time, it's like part of being supportive of the community is maintaining the laws and policies that are put in place to maintain order. So, I mean, I know it's like that whole slippery slope thing where it's like, oh my God, you say, Rob, you say, you know, you don't need the calabacillo, and that means the floor craft's gonna go to crap, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you know, I don't know that. No one knows that, you know? But like the breakdown of what's considered the norm has to start somewhere. And maybe this is like what we see, like everyone griping about floor craft is the start or the result of the Codigos breaking down.
It's true. And for those of you who don't know, the code of the Milonga used to be you have the more experienced dancers, usually the older maestros, on the outside lane because they know how to navigate and continuously move. And then you have the newer dancers in the middle, right? The people on the outside get preferable favor because some people want to watch them dance, and also they know how to navigate better. In today's climate, we have pretty much everyone goes to the outside lane. And regardless of your experience, regardless of your navigational skill, people simply take the outside lane, and it usually gets clogged up because most of the time people don't continuously move, or they are unaware of their surroundings, or you have beginner dancers that are also on the outside lane because people are told that, oh, this is how you start. You go on the outside lane and you keep going around the dance floor. And so that ends up being the problem. So you end up seeing some of the more experienced dancers, myself included, going to the middle because that's the only thing that moves in the middle. So you see some of the best dancers in the middle, and you have mostly more of the less experienced dancers on the outside, which is the absolute flip of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I've seen that too, and like I still try to maintain the outside, but sometimes, you know, I just grow too impatient, and you know, I change lanes to get around something. But it kind of does also makes me wonder that if I can't maintain the flow, do I deserve to be on the outside? I don't know. You know, it's part of the whole thing where sometimes I have to sit back and question myself. You know, like we call these experienced dancers good dancers, right? But at the same time, I think they break the codes as much as anybody else. Like they'll go in the center and, you know, they're just as
changing lanes like you're everywhere.
Yeah, like
weaving through traffic.
You know, and these are people who know better. That some of them, you know, some of these people are known teachers who are well respected. So it's, you know, if culture comes top down, then you know it's tough because, you know, how do I go out and tell somebody, hey, you need to respect the codes, and then like Mr. Mundial champion comes in there and just breaks all the rules, you know?
Yeah.
How do I enforce it on Mr. Mundial, especially if it's not my place?
Yeah, there's no lead by example, unfortunately, or not a lot of lead by example.
Yeah. The other thing I think is really interesting is that I think especially in the marathon setting, like the more it gets to the in crowd, like the more exclusive milongas, where people like, you know, everyone kind of knows each other because they've traveled like to Europe together. There's all these big groups.
Yeah.
I think the codes kind of fall by the wayside because there's this expectation like, oh, well, we all know each other, you know?
There's a comfort level.
Yeah,
and that's why people travel, to find these groups of people that you don't normally see.
Yeah, but also at the same time, you know, they because there's this idea that everyone knows each other, and then like if like you just happen to be that one or the few who don't know everybody, then you know that makes it rough because you know there's no enforcement. Like how does that person break in? You know, if everyone's like chatting with each other on the side, everyone's in their own little like small groups, you know, it can be a bit disheartening, especially as even like someone like myself who's been dancing for more than 10 years to feel like, oh my God, like I'm back to being like a used Bible salesman, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the tough part. So it really depends on who you ask. When some people are asking like, oh, how was your weekend at this marathon in whatever city? It really depends on who that person is that you're asking, because if they are the ones who travel all the time for marathons, most of the time they're going to say it was a great, experience. But if you're someone who hasn't been on the circuit or doesn't travel to marathons quite often or don't leave your local town very often, sometimes like Rob said, it can be very difficult out there because there is not a lot of mixing as you would think.
yeah. So here's another thing about the Codigos, and sometimes
Codigos.
Codigos. Did I say Codigos?
Codigos.
Codigos. Sorry, guys. The whole like number of songs in the tanda, like there's this push to maybe like do 2-song tandas, maybe 1-song tandas, and make it more like ballroom to get more people mixing. Like, when do we change tango so much that it stops becoming recognizable as tango?
That's a good one. I think the tango purists are definitely for the 4-song tanda. I'm going to tell you why. 4 songs is just enough to warm up with somebody, connect over a period of time, and have that long thing where it's kind of you start slow and then you build up to something. If you have something less, it's harder to get that effect. 3-song tandas are decent, but anytime you're considering 2 or 1 song, I think it's good for mixing. I think it's good for maybe a local milonga where the crowd's always dancing with the same people to kind of mix things up. I think that could be interesting. But I do get why some of the tango purists really like the 4-song tandas, because what if you do a 2-song tanda and you miss the first song? Then you're just gonna ask somebody and you get a 1 song, and is that it?
Yeah, but I mean, and I think that's what it comes back down to is that I think the Codigos will say like, dance the song that you want to dance to. You're not out there to marathon every single song. And I think when you start talking about 2-song tandas, 1-song tandas, or smaller tandas, there's less to work with and there's less waiting time. But also at the same time, it's almost like it kind of sets you up to dance every single tanda because it's like, oh, 2 songs, I need another one. Oh, another 2 songs, I need another one. So, I think it does set people up to put in more quantity and rather than focus on the quality of their dancing.
That could be a good thing. And most people do a lot of multiple tandas anyways. If you're really well acquainted at your local milonga, it's quite often you see multiple tandas, and that's actually against the code of the milonga as well, usually reserved for
Partners,
significant
yep.
other or partner, but we've seen that kind of blurred out. What about the cabeceo? Obviously, it's something, the mirada and the cabeceo are two components that have its controversy. Some argue that it's kind of causing this friction for people. Some argue that it's more liberating, gives people options and choices.
I see cabeceo just as a tool. It depends on whose hands it's in. Because sometimes people cabeceo, and then they're just obnoxious about it. I've seen it a few times where the guys are probably in the girl's face because she's trying to look away, and it's like whoop, hey, 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 and no one tells them that's not a cabeceo, bro, and so it's.
Well, no one, I don't think anyone teaches these things. No one knows about the subtle act of the cabeceo where it's both parties willingly want to dance. To me, that's what I enjoy about it, is that when 2 people are looking and they kind of meet eyes, and they both confirm that, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
also,
it's like two parties willing to do these things together, not one party dominating and trying to control the whole action.
yeah, and I think the other thing is also everyone has a different interpretation about what's acceptable in the cabeceo. Like I remember back then, you would go, Rob, like your cabeceo is like so obvious.
It was. You did. It's
and,
like
and I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of want it to be obvious because there's no there's no guessing. It's like, hey, I want to dance with you. I'm giving you distance so you can say no, and that's okay. Say no, look away, whatever.
That's fair.
But yeah, like I mean, this whole like it's got to be like that once in a lifetime chance moment. I mean, I get it. It's kind of romantic in that sense. It's like this idealized idea of the cabeceo.
Well, people have to be looking for the cabeceo once the cortina ends and the new tanda plays. That's when people should know that this zone here within the first song of the tanda is for you to look and to see if you want to dance with anybody. But most people are out there now socializing or not paying attention on their phones, whatever. Yeah. And so what are you going to do?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to make it more obvious. Because like, hey, and I still give people space. I think like I think the cabeceo is very liberating because it allows people to say no. Because I know it's very hard to say no when someone's like in your face and say it, because everyone makes the idea that just it's just 15 minutes of your time, as it's something so innocuous.
Yeah.
It's like why are you being so stingy with 15 minutes? Like you have like years of life on you. Like, what's wrong with 15 minutes? I'm only asking for 15 minutes, And it's not, the point isn't about 15 minutes. It's more the principle of, do I want to dance? Am I tired? Like, why am I forced to marathon it through?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little tough.
The magic of the tanda should be that both parties want to do it, and that I have the energy and the willingness to give you my best. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
I don't want us to go out there and just whatever, like putting half of my heart into it. And same, I don't want the same for you. I want both of us to put all of ourselves into the dance.
Yeah, but what if they go up to you like, well, Derek, like me at 100% is you at 5%, and I'm willing to take that. Why can't you just give me 5%?
5%.
5%. I think it's very tough because we all have different feelings about it. I mean, for me, like when I go out and dance with people that that I'm not like totally enthusiastic about, but like I'll dance with them because they're good people, they're nice people. I'm not sitting there. I'm not giving away my Pugliese, for example. I'll give up my Rodriguez, or I'll give up. I won't make them suffer through tuba tango, but I'll. It's something that I enjoy, but it's not like so sacred and precious to me. It might be just an easy Desarli, or like an early Fresedo, and that's okay. But I think people just have I think one of the big problems that I have with this idea that it's so innocuous, like it's not a big deal. And, like sometimes it feels like when someone just goes, oh, you're a billionaire, what's a few hundred thousands to you,
Yeah, it's chump change.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not chump change to me, maybe, and I think that's kind of the problem, is that everyone has this different, like, especially when they're on the receiving end, it's like, why do I care if you have to pay 50% in taxes? I'm on the receiving end, It's your money, not mine, so all I care about is what I get. And that's why I really hate this argument of, like, oh, it's just 10 minutes of your time, it's just 15 minutes of your time, it's not a big deal. And yeah, I wish that's something we could talk more about.
Yeah, also, what about, in terms of etiquette, your attire? Because I know, and I'm not the greatest one with attire, I don't come with a suit usually. Mm-hmm. I'm not wearing a blazer. But it used to be where you go to the Milonga and fashion was very important. You show respect to the culture and to the people that started this dance, and you dress appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, I try to dress appropriately.
Yeah.
I definitely slacked off after COVID, but I used to suit up every time. But also, I didn't dance as much too because I was sweating balls in those suits, and my dry cleaning bill was outrageous.
Well, that's part of the code as well. You're not supposed to dance furiously and sweat all over everybody. That used to be frowned upon.
Yeah, and I totally get it. It is frowned upon, but like sometimes just dancing one tanda in a suit is enough to get me totally drenched, you know.
Yeah.
The good thing about suits is if you get a good jacket, guys, the jacket keeps the lady dry. You know, there's enough because there's enough layers for the sweat to be absorbed, and the top part will still be dry. So, yeah, the suit's not there for you; it's there for the ladies.
The suit, I always feel confined in a suit. I just don't have the right suit. I just always feel restricted, just like blocked in, like I'm wearing like a straight jacket almost.
Yeah, I totally get it, especially when you go with cheaper suits because they have the big armholes.
Yeah.
You know, because then you do this and the whole thing rides up.
The shoulder pads.
Yeah. So I would definitely say the best suit. I mean, we can do a whole segment on like fashion. Let's not go there, but yeah, like if you really spend money and spend time in understanding like the suit culture, then it might be worthwhile. But there's a topic that a lot of people want us to talk on, and it's definitely in the Codigos, which is hygiene. What do you think? I mean, we're at a point where it's getting a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people plead with us to cover the topic of hygiene. And to a lot of people, they feel it's gone way too far out of control. And I will say that when I started Tango, me and Johnny, we were very hell-bent on hygiene in terms of knowing what to the mouthwash. We were like almost doing research on which mouthwash is good enough for the dance. We were that like detail oriented.
You never shared that with me. I could have used that.
Yeah, he's like, like Johnny's like, no, the green one's not good. The blue one, blah blah. This brand, literally, when we started out, we were so overly concerned because we wanted to make up for our dance, right? We wanted to make sure that even if our dance sucked, if we have the other things, it makes it more tolerable.
It pads. It's padding.
Yes.
It's padding.
And so we were down to the mouthwash. We were down to what deodorant you use, like cologne or not cologne, right? And like how far to spray, how many sprays. And I feel kind of sad that I don't nearly put as much effort in terms of like finding all of those things as I've gotten more experienced.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like when you first start off, you're like the t-shirt and shorts guy, you know?
Really?
Well, like
mine's the opposite.
No. I meant like because you go to class before you go to the Milonga.
Okay.
Like I mean, I was
even in class, I felt like I had to dress up because I thought tango was like super fancy. I wore a dress shirt.
Oh.
I looked like a Thai waiter. I was like, seriously, my first class, I had like these
vest.
A vest. I had some clunky dress shoes on.
Yeah, bow tie.
I never both. I didn't go that far. I didn't go that
like
far.
Mr. Valet.
Mr. Valet.
Like, next lady. Now serving number 5.
I had like a red dress shirt. It's like, it was like huge on me. It was like one of those oversized dress shirts because I didn't have the form-fitting one. So I was like drowning in this dress shirt.
I don't know.
It was bad.
When I first started out, I definitely dressed down. I guess also because like I was really into Alterno Nuevo too.
Oh.
But then as I got better, I started suiting up more. And then it was really COVID that really knocked me out. And I'm like, life is so comfortable in flip-flops. And, and I kind of went back. I just got comfortable in it's like, hey, well, this is me, I mean, I got a short sleeve polo. You should be happy, right? But yeah,
I will say that I have to feel fresh going out to the Milonga. Now that might change if it's a marathon and like I'm out of town and it's like one of those things where it's like afternoon Milonga and then you go dinner and then you just have no chance to go back or something, and so you stay the night. So those are the exceptions. But for most Milonga, especially at night, I feel like I always have to go take a shower. I feel sticky and dirty if I don't go and take a shower before I go out and dance.
No, same
It's
here,
not just for anybody else. It's actually for my own conscience.
You just feel greasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a funny one, and I'm terrible at this because I love food, but foods you shouldn't eat before the Milonga, because of course onions make you smell your breath smell and everything. No amount of Listerine can help you on that one. Same with garlic, but the one thing that really bothers me, and I don't know if you've ever encountered this, but people who eat curry before the Milonga, because it comes out of your pores. There's nothing you can do about it. You can brush your teeth and everything, it's totally fine. But then when you start sweating, it has a very distinct scent, and it's kind of like asparagus. When you have asparagus, you have that distinct scent. You're like, oh, it has that sour smell.
Okay, but what are people supposed to do? Because I'm really bad actually of having a very keen sense of smell, good or bad. For some reason, it doesn't really register to me. But I know that some people out there are very sensitive to smell, and they were like, "Oh my God, did you dance with that person? They smell so awful." But what if that person doesn't know that they smell awful?
Well, you know what? So I've got to admit to something terrible, and it didn't happen in Tango, but it happened at work. Mm-hmm. So I had my gym clothes all the time because there was a gym at work, and I would gym it up, and I would leave my clothes in my bag, but I'd bring it to the office because I didn't want to drop it off in my car. It's I'd take my gym clothes into the office, worked. During lunch, I'd go work out and come back, and there'd be sweaty clothes in my gym bag, but it's under my desk, not a big deal, right? But, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. And you can't smell your own sweat.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But, so what I shared an office with a coworker, and what she did was, she didn't say, "Rob, you smell."
She wrote a nasty letter?
No. She actually just started bringing air fresheners in and just putting it up there as a hint, So maybe the hint.
You have all these little trees,
No, she did. Hey, Megan, yeah, I got the hint. But maybe that should be the thing. There should be we should just go around and we hear someone smells. It's just pass them a deodorant bar. Be like,
here, please.
No, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
It's hard. I think it's kind of like one of those examples where you go to somebody's house and they have a lot of cats, and you go in there and just oh my God, everything smells like cat, but to them it just smells normal.
Yeah.
So, but what are you going to say to that person? Obviously, to me, your house smells like cat, but to you, you live in it every day and you have no idea.
Yeah. Especially if it's a white cat. Oh, jeez. but then here's the other thing. There's the other thing that I think people should be a little bit understanding about too, is that sometimes it's outside of their control. They
have conditions, a medical condition.
Yeah. I have a medical condition where.
But to be fair, no one cares.
Yeah, you're right. No one does care.
Yeah, no one's gonna be well, actually, no. They're gonna be that person smells. I don't care about the reason they smell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I get that. And I guess I just gotta dance better than my medical condition,
Yeah.
Just gotta pat it up.
Yeah. What if you wear double shirts or something for sweat? Because I used to do that in college when I was going to the club. We used to wear the white T-shirt under our dress shirt to kind of hide the sweat.
Well, you could.
It buries it, or
no. So you could hide the
soak it up.
You could hide the wetness, but do you know what actually smell? What makes BO?
No.
It's the bacteria.
Okay.
So the bacteria eats whatever dirt, grime, whatever's in your sweat, and then the bacteria starts farting. Pretty much, it's bacteria fart. That's what BO is.
So maybe you need to get a loofah and just body scrub.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing is, once you start sweating, it's bacteria just comes back. There's bacteria in the air. You can't do anything about it, right? And once they start chowing down your sweat and any kind of things that come out of your pores, they're just chowing down on it, and then they're having upset stomach, and that's what causes BO. The only thing you could really do if you're a normal person is, besides deodorant, is you can use acidified soaps, because higher pH balances on your skin makes it more inhospitable for bacteria. So That's one thing you can do. But
Or just dance less, maybe. I guess that's
yeah,
unfair.
yeah,
Sex, that
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. You can dance less. Well, I mean, does it really suck? I mean, if you think about it, like, do you need to dance every single tanda, or would you want to put it all like 3 tandas worth of energy into that one pugliese?
That's true.
You know, I'm more like I used to be a 16 tanda guy,
Yeah.
and now I'm like a 5 tanda guy.
Okay.
Like that's what I've got me. I've got 5 tandas.
I'm still the 15 Tanda guy.
Well, you're also more fit than I am, also. So maybe you just have the stamina for it, and you don't sweat, buddy. This guy does not sweat.
I'm very privileged. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Like sometimes you have good genes in that sense, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get blessed with tall genes or stuff like that, so at least I have the non-sweat thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a good thing health-wise, but
Yeah, no,
it's good for tango. But
it's good for tango. It's good for dry cleaning. But supposedly, like I'm getting rid of all the toxins in my body, so that's a good
maybe
thing.
I'm keeping all the toxins in my body. That's
Maybe.
good.
But maybe you're getting rid of it in other ways. So like going back to Codigos, a lot of people just think it's archaic, like, and they're pandering to the Argentine culture, where it's kind of like, this is America. We don't need to do this. This is like, we need to change it to fit American standards. I mean, do you think that's really a thing? Like, should we change it to fit American standards, or should we fit it to wherever standard it is in the place that it's being imported into?
I will say that if you want to dance tango in the way that it was initially created, then yes, like you shouldn't change those things. It doesn't need to be changed. I understand it's a different demographic. I understand that there are different customs and different culture, but if you're going to change the formation of the dance, then are you really dancing tango anymore? I would argue you're not. You're dancing something else.
You're dancing tango, not tango.
Yeah, and so, yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
and it's not like, just don't qualify it as Argentine tango when you're dancing something and not making a mockery out of it, but you're altering it in a way that it's not in its purest form or original form.
Okay.
Right?
But so here's another thought. So we have an idea around here called the tyranny of the minority.
Okay.
So the idea is that we're catering to the 1% that it's making life miserable for like the 98% or whatever, 99%. So in another country like the United States, where the amount of Argentines that are here, even in Argentine tango, it's a small percentage.
True.
But they're calling all the shots. It's because it's their culture or whatever. And is it the tyranny of the minority, and the unwillingness to adapt and and assimilate, or what is it?
That's an interesting one. So I'll just use this as an example. If you want to take something like sushi, for example, it's a Japanese dish, Japanese food creation, and you want to fuse sushi, and we've seen sushi fused with a bunch of different things, right? Maybe with like tacos or something, something on the long sides of Mexican food. Is it still Japanese food? Is it still sushi if you make a sushi burrito?
No, it's not.
So there goes your answer.
Yeah. well, for me, I mean, and that's why for me it's like I don't want to change the Codigos because I think it's there. I like them, and I want to pay homage to the Argentine tango culture.
Yeah, you're taking this dance as a part of a culture, and so it's your job to learn the culture, learn the things that come with it, right, and then play by the rules that the culture has created, right? It's not like, all right, I want to learn how to play basketball, but you know what? I don't care about the rules. I don't want to who cares
Dribble.
about out of bounds? Yeah, why do I have to dribble? Why do I have to dribble? Why can't I just run with the ball in my hand? And why do I have to shoot it with my hands? Can I just kick the ball? It's like, no, because basketball, there is an out of bounds, and we dribble the ball. We don't use our feet. That's illegal. It's against the rules.
Yeah. I didn't know about the feet thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kickball.
Okay. No, I totally get it, but also at the same time, like I think, we need to make some space for people to, I don't want to say like denigrate tango, but in a sense, adapt tango to make it more palatable to wherever it's being imported into.
And some people would argue that why make it palatable? If you want to learn this dance, you have to learn it and learn it the hard way.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think it's one of those things where sometimes people need like easing into, like they need that gateway drug per se.
Okay.
Like take me for example. Did I start traditional? No, I started nuevo. I loved alternative. I loved all these things, and I thought it was really cool. Like day one, I wanted to do baxicadas. Day one, I wanted to do like ganchas and enganches. That was me, and here I am, like a staunch traditionalist. So I think it's important to take, to take anything as it comes, and like not disparage people for making attempts. Because we take Codigos so far that, let's say, like we lose the opportunities like Dancing with the Stars, where even got Leo and Miriam dancing on Dancing with the Stars, and everyone else like who they coach to do Argentine Tango, everyone's like, oh, that's not tango, right? But we lose the opportunity to introduce people to tango when we are so snobbish about it. So at one point, I think there needs to be a space for like pure traditionalists, and there also needs to be a space where people are more relaxed and just have the sign on the door where it's like, hey, this is super relaxed. Hey, this is like super like uber traditionalist, and people know by just going there.
Honestly, I think most hardcore people that are really into Argentine Tango, they don't care about being popularized. They don't care about it being more mainstream. They don't, if you want to buy in, fine. If you don't, fine, that's well. And I actually think a lot of people enjoy it being kind of this subculture, kind of this underground thing that a lot of people don't do. There's kind of like a little intrigue, mysterious intrigue of being part of something that a lot of people can't do or don't know about.
Okay, so you think do you think the Codigos are kind of there to make them like it's another layer of mastery?
Yeah.
Like, oh, like I belong to this society, and
Yeah.
like
show us you belong by learning these things.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
It's a barrier to entry, yes, but it's a proving barrier, right? I was part of a fraternity, and of course there are some hazing things and tradition things that go in with any Greek life thing. And it's meant for you to say, yes, this thing is not for everybody, and yes, you're going to have to earn your way in, and yes, you will learn a lot through that hardship, and it will make you stronger at the end.
Okay, well, I buy that because again, like I love the Codigos, but it's interesting, like especially being an organizer where people would really challenge me on that. We're like, you don't need to do this, Rob. You don't need to remind people to cabeceo. You don't need to do all this stuff. But and I definitely have relaxed a lot more on the ideas because I'm more worried about the population size than anything. But maybe they're right. Maybe that's the wrong way, and we should be like super tango, and that's it. Like if sink or swim, and most people can't they can't swim. So if they sink, they sink.
I mean, I've begun to flip my stance as well. I mean, a couple months ago, we did this thing of why we need more Tango Nuevo, and now I'm actually kind of flipping back to, you know what? I think that something hard, something challenging, something difficult makes it more worthwhile. And so, yeah, let's keep this. And if you want to join it, that makes people more proud to learn. That makes people more excited to do something different. Otherwise, what else is it? Like, that's what makes this thing unique from other things. Mm-hmm. So why are we trying to strip away the things that make this thing unique?
Well, no, I still feel that we need more Tango Nuevo, but we can disagree on that one.
Okay.
All right, well, what do you guys think? Do you think we need to revise, get rid of, or how do you feel about the Codigos? I'd like to hear from all of you.
Yeah, and if there are some things or codes that we missed out on, let us know, because we don't know everything, and we're also learning, and we are lifelong learners, not only in this dance but in other things as well, and we enjoy learning just as much as hopefully you do. And so let us know in the comments if we missed something important, or whether you agree or disagree with myself or Rob. We'd like to know. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for watching Left Foot, Right Foot. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and that notification bell so you can keep up to date with us with each of our new releases.
Thank you all so much. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and we plan to do a giveaway once we reach that mark. It's been such a tremendous journey so far on this YouTube platform, and we have all of you to thank, so thank you so much, and we're going to keep this momentum going.